So a couple of weeks ago, I drove and reviewed the new Bolt EV. Now we have the Bolt EUV, which has got a big media push recently. There's ads all over the place for this vehicle. And I quite like the changes that they made from the Bolt EV to this, the EUV. The EUV is basically a bigger brother to the EV. It's not categorized as a crossover, but having crossover styling, it is a bit bigger. And of course, all electric. So we're gonna jump into this thing. We're gonna head to a charger. We're gonna talk about the vehicle and what I thought about it from driving it through the week. So without further ado, let's go. All right guys, so we have 74 miles of range left after driving it for the whole week, which is really impressive. But first thing we need to do is head to a charger. We've got it in the navigation system, heading to a level 2 charger. It's gonna take till 2 o'clock to charge it to full. It is 8:52 right now. We're not staying that long. So we're gonna drive out there, we're gonna plug it in, we're gonna talk more about the vehicle as it's charging, and then we'll be done with the review. Let's really dive into it. All right, and first off, the Bolt EUV has 3 trims, much like the Bolt EV. You have the LT as your lower trim. That has a base price at $33,000. You have the Premier trim, which starts at $37,000. And finally, the Launch Edition, which is $42,000. So one of the big and immediate differences between this here and the Bolt EV, which we drove again a couple of weeks ago, is obviously the size. A little bit of the styling. The styling is made to match, but the size, it is a bit bigger, which I do appreciate. Let's go ahead and talk about the exterior. And quickly touching on the exterior design, you do have that geometric front grille. You've got a little bit of opening for airflow, but obviously you don't need to be cooling anything with airflow. You want this to be as aerodynamic as possible. We've got those LED headlights. We've got the LED daytime running lights up there. We have the black Chevy badging. We have 17-inch aluminum alloy wheels with all-season tires. We do have some nice roof rails on here. You can get the crossbars and put some nice extra storage or whatever up there. It would be cool to see this thing decked out as a sort of urban camping vehicle. We've got chrome on the door handles. It has automatic locking doors. Around the rear, you got the LED taillights, the Bolt EUV badge. Again, a blacked out Chevy badge. All in all, as the looks go, I do like the way this thing is designed. And the EUV versus the EV, I do like the bigger style. Talking about size, the total length of this vehicle is 169.5 inches. The wheelbase is 105.3 inches. The height is 63.6 inches and the width is 59.5 inches. And again, I really do like the looks of it. It's not as smooth and timeless as some other vehicles like the Tesla, if you're into their design, but it does work with this thing. And again, I like the bigger crossover styling. And of course, that bigger design gives you more volume, especially in the rear hatch, where you get 16.3 cubic feet of cargo volume. Max cargo volume in this vehicle is 56.9 cubic feet, which is quite a bit for a compact vehicle like this. That electric engine will net you 200 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque. Has an EPA estimated range of 247 miles. And should do 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. You do have a sport mode in here. Otherwise, you're driving a little bit more efficiently. Put it in that sport mode, you unlock all of that power. We'll do that here in a bit, but for now, let's talk about the interior, starting with the rear seats here. So again, this is a compact vehicle, not really made to be a family vehicle, but I did have the family packed in here. Kids 3 wide in the back, wife in the front, and it was tight, but we made it work. Moving into the front as the driver, I'm super comfortable. I've got plenty of room. I'm 6'1", bit of a bigger guy, but I fit just fine in this thing. I don't feel like I'm super cramped where it's awkward, so that's always a plus in a compact vehicle. I have plenty of headroom here. We've got the nice sunroof, which helps a bit. Everything's easy to touch, navigate, control, including the 10.2-inch touchscreen display here. We've got a bunch of good apps to use, navigation that will obviously help you find chargers nearby. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is based on a Google system, so if you have Android, it should fit right into your family. Or if you're an Apple person, you have an iPhone, it still integrates with Apple CarPlay just fine. Our steering wheel is a nice size. We've got nice beefy grips. You've got all of the controls on the steering wheel that you would want. Volume rocker is behind the wheel. You have the little paddle for your regenerative braking, which I talked a lot about in the Bolt EV. You might go check out that video if you want to hear more about my thoughts on that. But basically, I like the paddle that gives you the regenerative braking on demand over the button that you can push to get the one pedal drive. It does the one pedal drive just fine, gets that regenerative braking going. But I'm not a huge fan of it. At least it takes a lot more time to really get used to driving that way. But I do like the paddle being here that you can just pull on and get some more power. Behind the steering wheel, we have an 8-inch driver information display. It's a nice design. You've got everything that you want. It's all digital, no analog gauges here. One of the big features that we have in this vehicle that we did not have in the Bolt EV is the new Super Cruise feature. It's an available feature, so it's something that you got to pay extra for. It's not standard on the vehicle, but it's a nice feature to have. It'll keep you in the lanes. It only works on roads that Chevy has mapped. So if you're up on a highway, it does work fine. I'm not sure that I need the laser shooting in my face all the time, and this little display at the top of the steering wheel can be a little annoying, as opposed to having all the information in your driver information display. But as far as how it works just fine. And as far as the overall driving goes, it's a nice, comfortable drive. It's not super harsh. It's not super noisy. Some of the EVs we used to drive prioritized way too much having a light vehicle over having the sound deadening, and they were way more noisy on the road. But this, with the aerodynamics that it has, there's not really any wind noise, even at highway speeds. You don't get a whole lot of road or tire noise. If you're gonna be paying this kind of money, you don't really want a cheap sounding vehicle. Some of the materials in here are cheap, but they've done a good job at limiting those, especially at places that you really touch or see. Everything is good quality, but it's a very responsive vehicle. Obviously, that instant torque is great. Great for maneuvering around traffic, great for getting up on highways. Speaking of highways, let's jump up on this highway. Let's get to our charging station. Let's start charging the sucker. And you can see we made it to the gas station to charge this thing, with 55 miles in range left. With the level 2 charger, which this should be, it should be 3:30 p.m. at complete, which we're not staying that long. But let's see how much charge we can get. 9:16 right now. We'll check that time again as we leave. All right, guys, we do have it charging. It took a little bit longer than I expected. So it is 9:31 now, 80% complete by 10:40, which is amazing. So about an hour to get to 80% from 58%. It's not bad. So it did take me a bit to get it all hooked up and get it charging. I haven't used one of these fast chargers yet in all the EVs that I've driven and reviewed. I've used a couple of free chargers that really weren't great if you look at some of my other EV reviews. So I definitely wanted to get one set up and charging on one of these level 2s. Much better time to complete. I did have to set up the app. I did have to put in my credit card information. When they loan us these cars, sometimes they give us stuff so that we can charge for free. I don't really want to do that. I wanted to pay for it just like I would pay for gas. I wanted to have it all set up. So it's set up. We are charging. On the way over here, we talked a lot about a lot of this vehicle. And again, I think it's really great if you've got a 240 volt charger at your house that you can do some overnight charging on. That's definitely the way to go if you have an EV. The 120 volts, not great, especially for charging at your house. I have charged these things at the house. It trickles. It's not a great experience, even leaving it overnight, or I've left them for 24 hours and you get like 10–15%. But seeing as it's very hot just sitting in this thing and you can't have the AC running, I'm assuming as it's charging, I'm gonna run into this gas station and get something cold to drink, wait a little bit, and then we'll come back out and see where we're at as far as charging goes. And then we'll start wrapping up the video after that. All right, now that we got some charge in the sucker, let's go ahead and try a 0 to 60. We're dead stop. We are in sport mode. So it's supposed to be 7 seconds. We're dead stop. Ready, set, go. $60. It's definitely not a rocket ship. 7 seconds is about average for maybe a decent hatchback, not even a hot hatchback. But the responsiveness of it, I think that's where this really shines. But with that, let's go ahead and find a place to pull over and we'll wrap this video up. All right, and after a full week of driving the EUV and spending a full week with the EV, I really do like this EUV for its extra size, and I think it's going to be really popular in the market. It's at a good price, it has a good range, and it's definitely a vehicle that can get the average consumer into an electric vehicle. So with that, if you are thinking about getting one, I definitely recommend it. Obviously, there are a slew of new EV options out on the market, as well as some old EV options that are still around, worth looking at. But I do really like the Bolt EV and EUV, and again, out of those two, I like the EUV a little bit better just for its extra size. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the EUV. Let me know if there's anything that I did not discuss that you were interested in knowing. I'll try to answer those in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're into automotive reviews, especially EVs. We've been doing a lot of EVs. I got something special coming up next week. Also go check out TXGARAGE.com, where we have a lot of great written reviews as well as event and news coverage from a lot of great authors over there. But with that, guys, thanks for watching.